All right, so welcome everyone. This is going to be our third session of FoodTech Mondays. As you know, or if you're watching, first time in FoodTech Mondays, we cover the hottest topics, trends, interesting stuff, and also the exciting developments that are happening across the globe on the food tech scene, focusing on one topic only. So with me today, Semi Hakim. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cook Project, and with me today, my co-host Ivan Draganov from Dealroom, and we also have an awesome guest speaker today, Triska Hamid. She's the editorial director of Wamda. So welcome back again, and welcome, Triska.
Thank you.
So today's topic, we will be talking about, dark kitchens, cloud kitchens, one of the, exciting stuff that's been, been talked about, invested in, lots of startups coming into the space across the globe. I mean, we're seeing, various business models that are happening. So we want to talk about the trends and exciting stuff on that. And we will be actually diving deep on a geographical basis as well. So we're going to take a look at the MENA region with Triska, focusing on GCC, and we do also, having this awesome presentation again from the Ivan side, lots of data. So before I take the mic too long, I wanted to actually pass the mic to you, Triska, to introduce yourself and welcome to FoodTech Mondays.
Thank you. It's great to be here. So I work for Wamda. Wamda is part VC, part online publication based in Dubai. We invest in early stage startups across the entire MENA region. And I take care of the content side. So we do research, we write about startups and the VC landscape in MENA. And we also host events and work with people like yourselves on creating reports and research out there.
Awesome. I mean, happy to have you. And Iwan, we're back here again. So would you like to take the lead and explain the the trends and ecosystem and exciting stuff that are happening in dark kitchens?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm just sharing my screen now. As usual, I just prepared a couple of slides with some interesting data that I want to share. So yeah, today's topic, dark kitchens and how they're changing how food is getting prepared. So looking at the overall food tech ecosystem, it has ballooned to 1.2 trillion, and it has increased sixfold since 2016, when it was just a little bit over 200 billion. And actually, the value driver in this period, it has been delivery and logistics startups, and they represent currently a little bit more than 700 billion, whereas the rest of the food tech ecosystem is a little bit is 474 billion. And the meal delivery revenue actually is poised to even grow further. So that's a growth catalyst for food delivery companies, and it's expected to reach 164 billion by 2024. And just in 2018, it was a little bit over 91 billion. And why is that important for the entire food tech ecosystem? Is because it's changing how food is getting prepared, how is it getting delivered to users, and the ecosystem, the food service ecosystem is getting a little bit more distributed. And dark kitchens are playing an important role in that. And we're seeing that there are at the moment 3 different models when it comes to dark kitchens. They're still trying to figure out which one works. So with virtual restaurants, you have companies like Taster and Kitopi that are actually preparing virtual only restaurants. So they do cook foods in certain location, so they don't have let's say a restaurant footprint. They use underutilized real estate assets to produce foods, and then they usually use food delivery companies like Uber Eats or Deliveroo to deliver those goods. But they're also real estate partners, such as Cloud Kitchens, which is, by the way, the company of the Uber founder. And you also have Karma Kitchen. So those guys are helping restaurants and virtual restaurants as well to set up a real estate kitchen or rent by hour. And what is also really interesting is they're also plugging into the entire supply chain of ingredients and other inputs that a restaurant might need, so they can order those ingredients through their platforms. And finally, you have companies like NextBite, which are developing virtual franchises. So basically, they partner with the restaurants, and they basically produce the food of that restaurant and then deliver it. But also, what about virtual restaurants? What I forgot to mention, the model of Kitopi is quite interesting, because if a restaurant has a really good brand, for example, they can partner with Kitopi, and the restaurant itself doesn't have anything to do with how the food is prepared and delivered. Kitopi takes care of everything, including ordering ingredients, cooking the food, and then delivering. So these models are creating new revenue streams for restaurants, but also a low capital intensive way to expand capacity when and if needed. And dark kitchen startups are actually now worth a little bit over 200 billion globally, and their value has increased 4 times since 2018. And just keep in mind that this figure includes food companies, but also real estate companies, as I've mentioned in the previous slide. And although the overall VC investment in the category has decreased since 2018 to just 4.4 billion last year, if we actually look at smaller rounds, so at early stage rounds of up to 40 million, and the VC investment has been increasing since 2017. And this chart comes from the Dealroom app. So if one is interested, can open it there and then can play with the amounts and can clearly see how the amount is growing of VC investment. I wanted to also spend some time on Deliveroo because they're really changing how restaurants work. So first, they introduced the Deliveroo editions, which are basically containers which they place around the city where food gets prepared, and basically they're helping restaurants to increase capacity in areas where they would otherwise not be able to deliver food within a certain time when it's warm, etc. And later on, they realized, okay, maybe a restaurant really knows what they want to do and they want to have their own website and app and everything. So they launched Deliveroo Signature, which are basically helping restaurants to create an online appearance, if you will, and then restaurants take care of everything. But more recently, I think it was announced at the beginning of this year, Deliveroo announced that they want to also launch a restaurant, and they don't want to launch a whole chain of restaurants, but they do want to know the economics of restaurants, how they function, what is the process. So once they know everything in detail, they know how to basically help all the suppliers on their marketplace. And this graph kind of indicates graphs how the order flow would look like. So if you are a customer and you order, if the restaurant knows what you want, that's the Deliveroo signature, which basically is on the graph to the right. So you go on the restaurant website, and then the order happens. However, if you are going to the Deliveroo marketplace, the order goes usually to either the restaurant or a dark kitchen, depending on the order itself. And then Deliveroo integrates into that an ordering software, payment solution, subscription services, and then take care of the last mile delivery at scale. So in a nutshell, if you're a restaurant and you want to really increase your capacity, you can use Deliveroo dark kitchens and take care of all the advantages of being part of their ecosystem. But you can also take advantage of their user experience software and generate more sales. And finally, what I thought is really interesting is that recently TikTok entered the food delivery in the US, and that's completely going to change how people get inspired about food and how they interact with ordering food. And TikTok, they are not going to themselves get into cooking food, but they're going to be partnering up with virtual dining concepts. In the US, its company, Virtual Dining Concepts, is out of Orlando, so I'm assuming across the US, but that might imply that TikTok partners with other dark kitchen startups across the globe in order to meet a capacity after they see the pilot. So this might completely expand the market size for dark kitchen startups, and really fuel a new wave of investment. So we can see a reverse of the numbers that I was showing earlier. And just finally, as you might know, you can find all the data at foodtech.dealroom.co, and you can also go on and subscribe to my newsletter, where weekly I send updates on key intelligence in food tech. So Sammy, take it away.
Awesome. I love that example of TikTok. I mean, I think that's just, the great sign of change. And, we have to take into consider that actually also, started with Mr. Beast in US, and, becoming active with 300 dark kitchens at just one day, and trying to serve across the country and expanding that to Europe and to the other markets. Thank you. I mean, that's awesome, man. Thank you for the presentation. So, but Triska, what's your thoughts on, basically what's happening in the MENA region? I mean, Wamda did a lot of research on cloud kitchens. You posted reports. And how do you see the market, and how do you see the potential, and how's your projections?
It kind of kicked off during the pandemic. So quite a lot of the cloud kitchens, dark kitchens were launched around in 2019. And with the lockdowns and the subsequent rise in food delivery, that's when we saw them grow. It became the fastest growing segment of food tech in the region. The leader in all of this was Kitopi, and it remained the leader in this. They raised 415 million last year, led by SoftBank in a Series C round. When Kitopi launched, we saw several others, all with different variations of exactly what they offered, whether it was the kitchen as a service, whether it was just the real estate. Kitopi is unique, as Ivan pointed out. It kind of does everything. It's sort of almost like a restaurant as a service. It procures the raw materials, it cooks them for you, it delivers them for you as well, but also partners with third-party logistics to deliver them as well. There's been kind of a lot of movement with regards to the emergence of cloud kitchens across the entire MENA region. Initially, it was very much concentrated in the UAE, some in Saudi Arabia. Now we're seeing cloud kitchens emerge in Egypt, in Morocco, in Tunisia, Jordan. There are many players that have emerged. Last year specifically, 6 cloud kitchens raised investment, totaling $450 million. That was primarily led by Kitopi's 415 million round. But we are seeing more investors interested, and many more players. The other big news last year was the acquisition of Icon by Reef Technologies. And now they're embarking on an expansion strategy across the region. What's interesting is both SoftBank is backing both Kitopi and is an investor in Reef Technologies as well. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's become a SoftBank play at the moment.
That's awesome. I mean, e-commerce and Q-commerce is also quite big in, the both of these geographies, also in Turkey. And, way I look at it is also, how's your, perspective on the connection between the Q-commerce and also the cloud kitchens? Because since actually both of them, sort of, seeing this interest and rise with the pandemic, and Q-commerce is becoming massive, with across the globe, if we, considering Getir, for example, is becoming one of the first, will be the first decacorn, company from Turkey, and the field itself is expanding day by day. So how do you see the connection between, or do you see any connection, or do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, they're very similar in terms of how they use the dark stores. The only one that we've seen, Kitopi is the only one that offers grocery, but it's not quick commerce. They went into the e-grocery segment during the lockdowns, and it's something I think they're going to continue with. But I think that's pretty much where it ends. It's that kind of building up that infrastructure. And with quick commerce, what we're seeing also is some startups are building their own infrastructure of dark stores. Some are partnering with other retail outlets in order to be able to offer those delivery times. With Wamda just invested in Yellow Market, which is Dubai-based, and they do quick commerce delivery in 10 minutes. So for them, the fastest is on legs, as the founder calls it. It's literally going downstairs, buying, whatever the customer wants and racing up to their building.
Nice. That's awesome. And Ivan, your thoughts on it also as well. I mean, I think we also covered that in our last session. Just
I was about to say that, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think that there are some similarities, as Triska said, and because they have the infrastructure to deliver ingredients to restaurants, they might do, but I'm not seeing yet clear signs, at least in Europe and US, that dark kitchens, because dark stores and dark kitchens, they have different economics of running them. And you need the different equipment and different infrastructure. So I don't clearly see yet big similarities. I'm assuming from a real estate point of view, if you want to amaze more assets and you get really comfortable with either one of the two, so either dark kitchens or dark stores, you might expand into that. But so far, I'm not seeing clear signs.
Understood. If I do like a really quick shameless plug, is that, since in our Inca project, we have a venture called My Demutfak, which is essentially, it's a cloud kitchen for entrepreneurs, right? So one of the aspects of My Demutfak operation is actually helping entrepreneurs to, create their own brands and helping them doing R&Ds and helping them understand the packaging and being able to access the market. And I think when we're thinking and talking about, the future of dark kitchens and cloud kitchens, I think it will also come down to the fact that what would be the content of it, because in a way that we can always be able to access to these chain restaurants or chain brands, but I think definitely will be have the interest of having there's certain districts and certain neighborhoods, even maybe certain cities, have certain brands in a local manner, and that would also impact the food tourism in a way, people having more interested on becoming a brand within the cloud kitchen or within sort of like packaged goods, via these dark kitchens, etc. So my question is both of you is that how do you see the content power on the cloud kitchens and dark kitchens? Is it just for these big brands, already established ones, or do you think this will be also, part of the conversation as we see it with the TikTok similarly, or is it just a phase? It's a big one, I know, but I mean.
I'll start off with this. One thing we've seen quite a lot of is the virtual brands, and that's just become almost like a factory of someone sitting there coming up with a menu, coming up with one concept menu with the different dishes all revolving around the same thing. And I've given quite a lot of them a chance, and I'm never ordering from them again, because it's this sort of like social media driven, trying to get the orders. They're so quick to put up and put down that I think there's an essence in the food that is lost, and it becomes more about how it looks and how it sounds rather than how it tastes. Kotopi acquired quite a few of these virtual brands. So I think we're going to continue seeing these virtual brands continuing. What we're also seeing is a lot of restaurants also developing their own virtual brands that they're advertising on the likes of Deliveroo and Uber Eats. That's something, from the one kitchen, you can have many different menus and many different identities. My concern with that is the quality of the food. You can sell anything once. If you get repeated customers, it becomes a bit more difficult. Another thing that the whole TikTok kitchen and social media stars, perhaps chefpreneurs, it's a great outlet for them to create their own virtual brands and concepts and restaurants. And I can see that doing well. The amount of memes I've seen of people saying, I wish someone can just deliver me the food that I see on TikTok. Clearly TikTok was listening. But there's also the issue because TikTok has been a big driver of food trends recently. Everybody did the banana bread, the feta pasta bake, but there's also that issue of IP. Who owns that recipe? Who has rights to that? Who gets the money if someone's making a whole menu of feta pasta?
So it's a great question.
I love the comment about the IP of the recipe. I really love that one, and it's a big one because you can watch a video, you copy the recipe, and then someone orders off your video. Then who owns the IP? I love that one. I'll just continue building on Triska's thoughts. So first about creators, I really like that this is giving an alternative revenue stream for creators and people who are passionate about cooking to really be able to build their own business. And I understand that for some of them it might be difficult, some of them might come and go, but I think creators that are really passionate about food and really want to build their online presence as a person who's passionate about food, this is dark kitchens in general and virtual brands, virtual restaurants are an amazing venue for them. But talking about also like what Triska said, that some restaurants do a lot of online spending. You order from them because the name pops up, and then the food is terrible. I think all the bad restaurants would actually go out, let's say, of business, and the big names would be able to a big name would be able to use to leverage dark kitchens to expand their business in other geographies, and actually restaurant service would be a lot more about experience. You go in a nice restaurants, you really like the food, but you live in a different city, and that restaurant might use then dark kitchens to expand to different geographies and be able to serve customers across when they make sure that they maintain a certain quality. For Karma kitchens, I think around 30 to 40% of their tenants are virtual restaurants. So it's those guys that only deliver online. And many of those might not be successful just because they cannot maintain a taste. But if you're a restaurant with already a strong brand, leveraging dark kitchens to really expand your business in a low capex way, it's tremendous.
I mean, I totally agree with both of you. I'm thinking at the same time, like the TikTok is also one of the biggest drivers on the music industry as well, and that realization actually comes from Spotify and also the other music platforms, and based on if a song becomes viral, that also listens a lot in Spotify, and they make money out of that. So there's actually a system in place that helps the either independent artist or or already famous ones. I'm not sure how would that happen in food. Maybe this is the platform in a way that they collaborate with cloud kitchen companies and create provide that content, and that will also have some sort of like a return on content creators. But I mean, absolutely 100% agree. How do you define the IP in a recipe, and recipes changes over the course of the years and based on taste, etc. But it's also what is exciting, at least is that for an entrepreneur to open up a restaurant, it's actually quite costly. And there's a lot of pricey learning curves along the way with testing out the food and recipes and the menu and the location, etc. I think what Cloud Kitchen brings into the table is to say you can do an MVP just ASAP in a week. If you fail, you fail, close it, go to the next district, next city, whatever. So I think that creates some sort of like a quick manner in this sector. But at the same time, I mean, Triska, I 100% agree with you, like that feeling that having that good food, because that was the case of Mr. Beast, as we give the example. That's the other side of the coin, is that I mean, they were active in 300 restaurants, but the reviews were not that good, and the burgers were not that cooked that great, and they were looking into expansion in UK and Europe, but along the way having a lot of like content talking about this is undercooked burger. But as my last question, I would love to hear your thoughts on the future projections of this sector. How do you see it as this is this going to become a big part of our lives? Are we just going to order from dark kitchens from day on, and then we're going to see less and less brick and mortar restaurants that we go on occasion, or are we just focused more on or this is going to be just a phase? What is your thoughts on that? So Triska?
I don't think it will be a phase, nor do I think that it's going to eat into dine-in. I mean, I'm in Dubai, even with COVID numbers rising once again, you go to the restaurants and they're full. It was the same case in London. We've actually seen, before the pandemic and even during the pandemic, the rise in food halls. So that is basically a physical cloud kitchen in a way of having loads of different brands all under one roof. So there's been a proliferation of that across the Middle East as well. We've seen with FoodTech, we've seen quite a lot of startups in the Middle East that do at-table billing. So, you know, they're getting investment, there's more of them coming into the space. So clearly there is a need for dine-in. With regards to how cloud kitchens will develop, I think, like Ivan said, the sort of the rubbish ones will eventually die out. We'll probably see more and more cloud kitchens, the real estate play of cloud kitchens grow across the region. I'm aware of several people in Iraq that are developing their virtual brands, and they're using restaurants that are already built and established and going in and building menus for them. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And also with regards to social media and how influencers will use this, we will likely see influencers create their own virtual brands and restaurants, but also a bit like how the fashion influencers and makeup influencers develop their own brands and their own range of products. It's already seeing food influencers do the same. There's Nick Giovanni, who has his own range of Osmo salts that he uses in all his videos, and it's direct to consumer. So I think we're probably going to see that initially, more of that before the cloud kitchens.
Awesome. And Ivan, your future projections?
My future projections, the category would grow. As I said, I think restaurants that have good branding and offer it would be a lot more like experience. You go in a restaurant, it's about the whole experience. What is the lighting? How is the waiter interacting with you? How is the menu? What is the arrangement of the food? Because whenever you order food from a dark kitchen, it cannot be arranged in a let's say in a decent way. It's usually messed up. So you go to a restaurant, it's about the whole experience, about interacting with people. And similarly here in Bulgaria, although the COVID numbers are high, I can still see people are craving to go to restaurants once or twice a week, maybe sometimes more. Just to have this social experience, enjoy really good food, discuss the food. So restaurants with big names, I think their business is going to grow as well. But as we've said before, dark kitchens, and as you've mentioned, is a very low cost way to expand capacity, try new things, quickly learn and fail. So I'm really excited to follow the development of that category.
Same. Well, same here. Well, excellent. Thank you so much for your comments, Triska, for your presentation, Ivan. I think that's a wrap. Anything you would like to add in as a last, any cool stuff coming from Wamda? Anything you would like to add as a last words, Triska?
We're keeping a close eye on the FoodTech space. So just wamda.com, you'll be able to see more of the content coming out over the course of the next few months.
Awesome. Well, as a follow-up, as a wrap-up, I keep saying follow-up. If you're watching this, on our YouTube channel on Cook Project, you can also watch our previous sessions with me and also with Ivan, as we covered other big topics on the food tech sector. And thank you so much for watching. And also, if you want to have any questions that you would like to ask to us for our further sessions, any certain topic you want us to discuss, and any certain guest speakers such as Triska you would like to suggest and joining us and talk about all of these awesome stuff that are happening in the food tech sector, let us know. You can also join to our community, which is based on Slack, on Cook Community. You can log in via our web page, which is cookproject.com, and just basically let us know. And thank you so much for watching us, and thank you so much, Triska and Ivan. Always a pleasure. So we'll see you on our next Food Tech Mondays. Take care.
Stay in touch.